find what you love and figure out a way to make a living at it. And if my living is making beer, I figured, why not? Quit everything I ever knew to do this.
So what's up, guys? I'm headed to Concord, North Carolina. I'm going to talk to the owner of Red Hill Brewery about what it's like to start a brewery in North Carolina.
A couple buddies of mine, people I used to work out with, actually downstairs at the CrossFit gym that's below us. We drink up here in this space almost on a nightly basis after working out. And we brewed, a couple of us were home brewers. And just the idea, and everyone's got that pipe dream about, I want to start something because I already brew it on the side. How great would it be to brew my own stuff, sell it, drink it every night, live in a brewery full of stainless steel and fermenting vessels all over the place. I mean, that's every guy's dream. And just decided to do it. Hey, if we're drinking up there, let's put a brewery up there. And we did it.
How stressful is that? That can't be an easy process. You've got permitting and codes and a lot of shiny metal to buy.
The shiny metal is what I want. I like the stainless steel, I really do. Might be just a guy thing, I don't know. I love going to breweries and sitting next to the fermenters and drinking the beer and knowing that I can kind of touch it. And the greatest drink in the world is made right here. There's something neat and sexy about that. And I want that here. And we've been so small, we do provide that, but one of my goals is to make that experience even broader for my patrons. We really want to make sure they can feel, touch, and see what we do, and expand that glorified homebrew experience that we've given them, which is great. Going back to the marketing side, we were able to grow the way we did organically on a small system without that type of experience. And it's a miracle. It took a lot of sacrifice and a lot of hard work. Now we're going to give back by giving that experience. And yeah.
Will you be able to distribute more?
Absolutely. No, that's part of the plan. That is absolutely part of the plan. This is my tap room. This will always be my tap room. I want to give, like I said a minute ago, that downtown experience. I want to stretch that reach. And there's a lot of other tap rooms and bars and really cool swanky places that serve craft beer. From our place to Charlotte up north, you just name it. We just make that radius expand. Why not let them share it with their patrons? Our beer is an extension of our tap room because our patrons have helped form what it is. And so by giving it to the folks, a few miles away in this neighboring city in that tap room, they're going to experience what we experience here. Took us about 6 months. It required us basically getting rid of everything else in our lives at that time. It's a lot of sacrifice to come in and work 24/7 to open this up. There was a good bit of red tape you got to get through. I mean, the government wants to know everything that you're doing when you're opening up the brewery. But just be transparent and put in all the work and you can get it up and running. It's relative to the time that you want to open it. There's a lot of breweries that they find it's more of a hindrance to open it up when it comes to the feds or the state level. You got to get through inspections and you got people coming in looking at things and you got to redo things because plans don't always go as you write them down. But we were very lucky to have this building. We were already in here. A lot of the stuff was already in place. The infrastructure was in place. It was just a matter of us bringing in equipment, getting some general plumbing done, and starting to make big batches of beer. So we have one of the smallest in the state. I joke it's a glorified homebrew system. It's very primitive, and we pieced it together by talking with some other breweries, bringing in the equipment, knowing what we need to fill based on what we did at the homebrew level. It's like, okay, we need a fermenter, we need a brewing kettle, we need a hot liquor tank, let's just expand that. We knew the size we wanted to do. We weren't going to be brewing more than about 150 barrels a year. That was fine with us. So I've got a 1.5 barrel system that I do 1 barrels off of. I've got 4 barrels worth of fermentation capacity in our chiller room, and one of them is a 2 barrel fermenter. I have 2 1-barrel fermenters. We actually double batch our flagship beer, our IPA, into that 2 barrel fermenter every 2 weeks just to meet the demand of the patrons. So Murph, the American IPA, when we first opened up, so a little backstory on Murph, we had a great IPA at the homebrew level. We were taking it around to different parties and sharing it with folks, saying, hey, we're getting ready to start a brewery, try this beer out. It was a wonderful beer. When we upgraded our system and we got it in here, we had a really tough time duplicating that same beer on the big system. The amount of hops that we were putting into the beer, we just could not fine tune it quick enough to put it out. And so our opening day, we didn't even have an IPA on tap. We had a couple pale ales that were essentially small batches of the IPA we were trying to create. And luckily we got a lot of really cool folks in Concord who understood. We explained the story to them and they became a part of the journey as we developed our IPA. And it took several months to finally hit what we were trying to accomplish with that beer. And so enters Murph. Murph is an ode to a actual CrossFit workout celebrating the life of a Navy SEAL, Lieutenant Michael Murphy. And there's a story on him that anyone can go look at. But that's our ode to our origins for me and my buddies who started this brewery together is Murph. It is a West Coast style IPA. It's just a beautiful, malty, hoppy, clean, traditional IPA. And I say traditional because nowadays we like drinking things that are a little more hazy,
It's a funny thing.
a little more funky, right? And people come in and think, oh, that's a little odd that you have an IPA that's so crystal clear. But yeah, I love good bitter IPAs. I'm a fan of good English IPAs, and that's what we wanted to give. We have a palate for that in Concord, and it's a good beer. And every time I put it out, we sell out of it quick. Anytime I put it in a restaurant, I put it in a can, it sells out quick. And we're very proud of Murph, very proud. In fact, it's not even on tap right now because we're out. I've got 2 barrels of it in the fermenter. It'll come out again next week, and I cannot keep it on tap.
Good problem.
Very good problem. Yep. Being here now almost 12 years, I've been in Concord longer than I've been anywhere in my life at any one time. And I love the city. I love what I see, how it's growing. I mean, we've got Charlotte, right? So we get the big city feel, but we still kind of have that quiet suburb feel as well. And it's a nice little mix. The people is what I've fallen in love with, whether it's the South or it's Concord, throw whatever you want in there. The people are great. Everyone supports you, everyone loves you. You got that local feel here that I've never experienced anywhere. Everyone is genuine. I but I live about a block away with my kids, and I tell folks all the time, I love the city so much. My goal, the reason I have a business in here and I want to make beer here, I want Concord to be a cool place that my kids want to come back to. That when they leave off for college or they go see the world, that they, you know what, Concord's it, and I want to go back. Concord's got a lot of neat things. And I'm seeing that happen, not just with our brewery, but the other breweries that are popping up, the businesses that are popping up, the type of hospitality that's existing here on Union Street and Church Street right now. It's a really, really fun time to be living here. And it's our lifestyle. We work, we live, and we play right here in Concord. And as long as I got beer to do that with, I'm happy.
The canning program's been a success?
Big success. And it's allowed us as a small brewery the opportunity to can and distribute those cans to some of our local partners downtown. Our market right now really is a couple miles down Union Street this way and this way, right? So we've got places in downtown that don't serve out of taps. They only do cans or bottles. So I can't give them a keg if I want to get Murph or any other of my beers out to their establishment. Bringing that canning machine in with the purpose of giving our patrons a fresher beer to take home now gives us the opportunity to can up multiple beers to sell to the folks in downtown. So now my patrons, when they go out and they experience downtown, and we said we love downtown, Concord is awesome, it's growing, there's a lot to experience, you need to get out there and walk around. Well, what better to walk around and experience Concord than with a Murph in your hand? And so that's what we've been able to do. And so we have partnered up with a couple of the local bars, and we'll come in here on a Friday when we have the stock, and we will can up a lot of Murph and a lot of our blonde, and we're taking them to our local partners.
Now, canning's traditionally been a pretty big investment.
Sure.
There used to be mobile canning units because it was such a big deal. How did that fit in kind of your business plan?
So we're not that high volume at the moment, and we looked into it. We looked into partnering with other local breweries and using their machines. I actually have, it's an October machine, and it is a sort of like the crowler machine. It is a spot canner. It's one at a time. It is extremely labor intensive, and that's what we do. We'll get 3 folks in here, a couple of my bartenders and myself. We come in and we're doing 1 can at a time directly out of the tap, and it's a lot longer than if I put it in a machine and everything's automated. It's a full day's work just to get a couple cases out to folks, but it's worth it as we're building. It's a minimal investment other than our time, but we're working with beer. And I mean this when I say it, like I don't mind coming in here and spending 6 hours canning beer when I have beer to help me get through those 6 hours.
Right. Is it more of a branding investment, or are you really making money on it?
It is more branding, because when you sell wholesale, the profits are a lot smaller than selling at the tap room. The other folks are making the money off the beer, but you're getting your name out there. It's just awareness of Red Hill. And if the product is good and people like it, and if they're sitting across the street at the arcade that sells beer and someone's playing pinball and they have your beer in your hand, eventually they're going to want to know where was that beer made. And if the folks who are selling it believe in you and they see that your beer is selling, they're going to tell them where that beer was made. And that's what we mean by partnership with the other businesses. It's all about relationships. We're not giving our beer to people who really don't care, and they're just pushing to make a profit. That's not what we're about. We put a lot of love and energy into what we do, and putting it in a can is very special. The canning process, as I said, is extremely labor intensive. So hey, a lot of people have touched this, and we feel it's very important to us. So when you give it to your patrons across the street, yeah, you're making money on it, but make sure to let them know where it came from. And our partners do that for us. So yeah, it is brand awareness, absolutely.
What do you do kind of advertising wise?
We started out doing no advertising. Our motto was we're organic growth. We're a speakeasy. You probably felt that as you tried to find us today. We get a lot of people come up here and say, man, you guys are the hardest place to find. And we spin that into a complete positive. That, yeah, but once you try a beer, you'll never forget us. Welcome, and we've created this culture of that speakeasy club and this vibe where people feel like they got to knock on the door and say, hey, Joe sent me, before they can come in. So marketing wise, we knew if the people liked what we did, they would tell their friends, and those friends would tell their friends, and so on, and we would grow organically. That means you're going to have slower growth, and you're going to be very, very patient with the folks coming in. We were okay with that. We were willing to take that sacrifice, because once you have that type of growth, you have built a clientele that is extremely loyal to you. And we're successful at that. We built that. To where now, doing little marketing things, whether we update our logo, do a really cool mural wall, talk with folks who want to come in and talk about the business, we don't mind doing that now, because I know I've got a core group of people who truly do like us, who love us, who support us, and who are always going to be here for us.
2 breweries open in America every day now. Does that concern you?
Nope.
Why not?
We've got a brewery opening about 3 or 4 blocks away here in a couple months. I was telling you earlier, people love alcohol, number one, and alcohol is economy proof. It don't matter if things are going well or going bad, people are going to want to drink. We're either celebrating or we're drowning in our sorrows, right? Beer, I think beer is the greatest drink in the world. When I go and visit cities, I want to try what the city's making, and I will go from place to place to place to do that. I'm not going to sit one place too long. Beer drinkers in particular, we're movers, kind of like nomads. We walk around trying new beers. If we did that with whiskey, we probably wouldn't be able to walk very much after the first place, right? So we're also very communal. We've adopted this kind of European pub mentality with the breweries nowadays, where people want to gather together. We want to have a pint together and just celebrate the day, celebrate life, be with friends. It's a social drink. And so more breweries opening up around you can only help you, because they're going to attract more people. And especially as the city is growing, there's a lot of folks in Concord, so having more breweries around me or anywhere else, it's just going to keep attracting people and keep introducing people to the wonderful thing that is craft beer. Those people are not going to just sit in that one brewery that's opened up, all right? They're going to drink a lot of the beers that they're favorites, but they're going to venture over because they're nomads. They're going to wander. Chris, what's the new thing you got on this week? Oh, I got a coffee coconut IPA. Awesome. I just came over from Southern Strain or from Cabarrus Brewing, and I'd really like to check it out. And that's all we want. I don't want even my own patrons to sit here all day drinking beer. You need to get up and you need to move. And we promote the other breweries because of that. And it's very unique that you promote your competition in this industry. But by doing so, we've created this positive vibe within the industry that promotes people moving around and trying other beers out. And by doing that, we all get a sliver of the pie, right? No one person is in charge. We're not big beer here trying to take everyone. No, we brew beer because we say we're about community. Well, we have to preach that. If we're about community, then that brewery that's a couple miles this way, I got to tell you guys some of the good beers they have and encourage you to go see them. Ultimately, it's about people too. The people who open these breweries, they sit down just like you and I are right now. I've had beer with them. They're in the local home brewer societies, right? They're just guys that we've met in the pubs before. Everyone being a home brewer at some point, having the big dream. Why wouldn't we want to support that? By doing so, again, we've created an environment within the industry in this country where even the patrons feel it. Now they want to go around and meet these people, the really cool people with really great stories on how they open their brewery, who are making really awesome beers, and people feel connected. So no, it's never competition. As soon as you start believing it's competition, I think that's when your business will start to fail. And if you worry about the needs and wants of your clients, you don't ever have to worry about your competition. And I know what my clients want. They want good beer. Well, I make good beer. There's a lot of great beer in our county, man. There's great beer. Please go check it out. And I'll tell them, oh, by the way, while you're there, get a 6-pack, bring it back. I'll pay you. I want to try all this good beer because I love beer.
Do you feel a pressure to always come up with something new? It seems like a lot of beer drinkers want, the untapped check-in with the new beer. Do you feel a pressure to constantly evolve new beers?
Pressure, it's not pressure. My creative side feels the pressure. I'm always thinking, what can I throw into a beer? We talked about the coffee and the IPAs, just unique things. We also live in a society where people, it's attention deficit, right? We're wanting something new all the time. We got to have that next biggest and baddest. What I have started to figure out though, you're a home brewer, right? So you probably like doing new things all the time. What can we experiment with? Can we create the next weirdest beer that everyone loves? A lot of my patrons though, they'll try the new stuff. They'll appreciate the new stuff. We can talk about it and critique it, which is a lot of fun to do. I love talking beer. They always go back to their favorites.
When they order a burger.
That's correct. That's correct. And we're all creatures of habit. Even when we need that extra stimulus in our lives, we are creatures of habit. And so what I've learned that everyone does is my regulars, they come in, they see what I'm releasing on a week, because I'll try to do a new release, a few of them every month. They'll try it, one beer, but then they're drinking 2 or 3 of their staples. And so that pressure in the beginning was there that you're saying, because I thought I needed 20 new beers on tap every single week. My original dream was to have 100 beers that was on a list, having about 10 on tap at a time, and basically you just cross them out as you run out. And then I'm brewing, that's my brew schedule and my tap list schedule. And if you really like that chocolate mint porter that I had, you gotta wait until I get through all these to get back to it, right? And kind of create a demand for it. With the group that I have now, if I did that, I don't think they'd come back. They like trying the new stuff, but I better have Murph on the board, and I better have my blonde on the board. So no, there's not pressure anymore, and that's just learning the industry. Heck, I would venture to bet that most people have the same beers in their fridge. They're gonna have their extras over here, but you always have your go-to that you're gonna go grab at the grocery store and keep in your fridge. Everyone's got a go-to beer. And so if you're opening a brewery, you have to have it. You gotta have, it's an overused word, some people don't like it, you gotta have your flagship, your staple, whatever that single pour is that people love about you. Keep that on tap.
What's the future hold
for
Red Hill?
We're growing. We at the point now where we're brewing, where we can't brew enough beer to supply the demand of our patrons. And 70% of the people who come in here are regulars. They love us that much. And I want to make sure that they're taken care of, that we support them for their support for us. And so we're getting ready to do a rebuild. We're going to a 3-barrel system from a 1-barrel system. Our fermentation capacity is increasing by 3 times. We're going to be able to brew more than enough beer to supply not only the demands of our patrons, but also we're going to expand our reach in the community. And it's an awareness thing again. We need to grow. We really like what we're doing. We're in business to grow. But Concord, again, us being the only brewery in downtown Concord, Concord's a cool place. And we want to show people it's a cool place. So there's beer brewed upstairs, above an ice cream shop, above a CrossFit facility, in downtown. Yep, brewed right here upstairs. And now you can get it, 10 miles away in Huntersville or Cornelius. Man, that's awesome. I just to bring awareness to our city, that brings joy to my heart. That's what I want to do. And so this summer is a big time for us, where the expansion is getting ready to happen right now.
I want to own a brewery someday. It's a dream. What advice do you have for folks?
This will almost be, this is not blasphemous to say, so hear me out. You open a brewery to brew beer, but it's not about the beer. And I think a lot of people open up thinking it is. Oh, we'll make the best beer in the world and we'll be successful. Possibly. Depends on how you define success. Beer and breweries are about people though. And you have to be about your people. It's about relationship building. And that sounds cliche and philosophical and all idealistic. It's the truth. Red Hill could not survive, and we would not have made it to this point if our focus wasn't on our patrons, if our focus wasn't on providing an experience for them when they come in. We have a bit of a cheers thing going on here. When folks walk in, we know everyone who comes in. Our regulars are our family. Newcomers are our family. We treat everyone like we're bringing them into our personal homes. You can provide that to people. It doesn't matter what your beer is, what styles you have, they're going to appreciate your work and what you do. And you have to give them that connection and that experience. And that's one thing we do that I think we do better than a lot of folks, is make sure that when the people come in, they're the ones who feel important. Don't make it about your beer. Make it about them. When they drink your beer, they're going to love it because you love them.